Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Monday, April 18th, and we are talking MLB betting value with SBR contributor Ian Cameron. We're taking a look at the opening overnight lines for tomorrow's card, Tuesday, April 19th. Ian Cameron, thanks for being back with us. The first game I want to ask you about, we do our series previews, right? We preview series every week. And one series I asked you about was the Dodgers at Atlanta, right? Now, I asked you, I said, the Dodgers appear to have a huge edge here. The question is, how big of a favorite will they actually wind up being? And for the Tuesday game, we got the pitching matchup of Wood against Tehran. And, just the opening line here is minus 131 to minus 135 market wide. Tehran's got a great arm, but he's definitely unreliable. Wood is nothing special, but he's definitely serviceable considering the advantages that the Dodgers seem to have in the lineup. Seems like maybe that might be worth a shot. What do you think? Is that line too low?
Well, definitely considering the difference between these two teams from a personnel standpoint, it is definitely hard to deny the fact that, it's a reasonable price if you like the LA Dodgers in this game. You're looking at probably what I'm seeing right now, Peter, minus 135 is pretty much the average price you can get with the Dodgers as of this taping. Obviously, you're going to want to check it after you watch this video and see what it is at that time, but it's a reasonable
I'm
price.
Seeing minus 131 at Pinnacle, 132 at Heritage, 131 at Sports Betting AG, 131 at Bet Online. You can get better than 135.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a solid price. Now, Alex Wood's an interesting case for me to look at here, Peter, in this matchup, because Alex Wood, I held the door open for him to have a pretty good season, come into this Dodgers rotation. I think there is some potential with this guy, crafty left-handed pitcher, but he just hasn't been able to put things together from a consistency standpoint, and look no further than his first two starts to prove that point. I mean, Alex Wood's faced San Francisco and Arizona, first two starts of the season in San Francisco. Very rough outing there. 5 runs on 8 hits, 5 innings, knocked out early in that game, and in a game the Dodgers lose 12-6. But he bounced back pretty strong next time out against the Arizona Diamondbacks, pitching at Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium, allowing just 1 run on 5 hits and 7 innings of work. A much better outing for Alex Wood. Little concerning that his strikeout numbers aren't that great. He's only got 6 strikeouts in 12 innings. So far this season, 5 walks as well. But still, I think the last start is a positive sign for him. Maybe he can build on that here against the Atlanta Braves. And it is worth noting, Peter, Alex Wood, no previous track record or history against the Atlanta Braves. So it's a matchup here where, Atlanta's not too familiar with Alex Wood's stuff, having not faced him. So that's usually advantage for the pitcher.
Yeah, is Tehran any more reliable in your opinion?
You know what, Peter? Tehran is he's supposed to be the quote-unquote ace of this Braves rotation, but to me, he's very untrustworthy. I mean, you look at the first 3 starts that he's had this season with this Atlanta rotation. For a guy that's supposed to be an ace, he hasn't exactly lived up to that billing, in my opinion. I mean, the first start against Washington, I guess, was okay, 2 runs in 6 innings, but since then, 5 runs in 4 innings against St. Louis, a rough outing there. Last time out at Washington, facing them a second time already in just a week span, 6 runs allowed in 7 innings for Tehran against that Washington Nationals lineup. Now you're facing a Dodgers lineup that, has been a little bit scattershot this season with their results. They've had some games where they put up big numbers, some games where they've been shut down a little bit, but I'm not sure I trust Julio Tehran to be that guy, that starter, to shut down the LA Dodgers here in this matchup. I know Atlanta coming off really a confidence building 3-game sweep on the weekend over the Miami Marlins for their first 3 wins of the season, sweeping Miami at Marlins Park. Pretty impressive stuff to go from 0-9 to 3-9, but still 0-5 at home this season. They've had no home field edge. It's pretty much an empty stadium at Turner Field, a long ways away from the days in the 90s when the Atlanta Braves were a perennial playoff team every year selling out the place. That's not the case anymore, so you can't give Atlanta much of a home field edge. I don't trust Tehran. It's a question of value, really. I can't talk anyone out of the Dodgers, or I wouldn't talk anyone out of playing the Dodgers in this matchup. It's just a question of each bettor's individual value. If you think minus 130, minus 135 is a sufficient, reasonable enough price to lay, then I wouldn't argue with any recommendation toward the Dodgers here to pick up the victory.
All right, Ian, another matchup that caught my eye where I think there might be some value now, and I also suspect the line will move by closing, is Washington at Miami. Now, of course, Strasburg starting for Washington, and he's having a good year, so it's not a surprise that Washington is the favorite that they are right now. It's between 140 and minus 150 market wide. But Conley, no joke either as a starter. He's coming off a good start as well. And I think we have every reason to expect that Conley will be able to, match Strasburg inning for inning. And Miami is such a sizable home dog. I'm guessing we'll have some value. And I'm guessing right now, BetOnline and sportsbetting.ag at plus 135, Heritage as plus 134. My guess is that we'll see this closer to plus 120 or 115 by first pitch. What do you think?
It's definitely possible, Peter. There's no question about that. It's an interesting matchup here. Washington, just such a large road favorite, 9-2 start. I mean, they've gotten off to a really good beginning to the season. Stephen Strasburg, still a guy that I'd like to monitor a little bit more to see how he continues to go, but you can't argue with the results so far for Strasburg as he tries to go on this, comeback mission to really reclaim his spot as one of the better pitchers in baseball, because he was certainly on that path, but then injuries started to become an issue. Not able to stay on the field, but so far through 2 starts. Now, granted, both of them against Atlanta, not a great lineup by any stretch, but 3 runs allowed in 13.2 innings over those 2 starts combined. So very good, impressive numbers to start the season for Strasburg. Conley, on the other hand, a guy that's shown a little bit of potential, did have some trouble with the Washington Nationals in his first start of the season. 1 inning pitch, 3 runs allowed, bounced back against the Mets next time out, 6 innings of shutout baseball. So he's a guy definitely with some potential. But the problem for me here with Conley potentially in this matchup is that the Nationals have been pretty good against lefties so far this season. 333 average, 8.74 runs per game. I don't look at Miami as a truly live underdog given the starting pitching matchup here. But again, these kind of road favorites, minus 150, and we talked about the Dodgers just now, over minus 130. It's just not in my wheelhouse to support road favorites usually of this size. Not saying you can't, not saying you shouldn't, but from my own personal betting preference, I typically avoid the larger road favorites, and certainly Washington, one of those here on the card on Tuesday.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, we could do a 2-hour call covering all 15 of these overnight lines, but aside from the 2 games that I brought up, what's particularly caught your eye that you'd like to bring to our attention, Ian?
Well, we might see some runs in a game on Tuesday night. The Colorado Rockies and the Cincinnati Reds doing battle. You've got everything you could ask for a lot of runs to cross home plate in this game, because you look at it, Colorado and Cincinnati, capable lineups, and here in this matchup, you've got starting pitching question marks on both sides. I mean, Jorge De La Rosa for years for the Colorado Rockies, the veteran lefty, pretty good pitcher, but I worry age may be starting to catch up with him. We've seen him, be very inconsistent for the last year plus in the major leagues. Now he'll be facing a Cincinnati team that has been pretty good against lefty pitching so far this season, averaging almost 5 runs per game and hitting 267 against lefties. So it should be a decent matchup for a Cincinnati lineup that, to me, Peter, better than maybe people thought coming into the season. Still got some potent bats with Jay Bruce, Joey Votto, Brandon Phillips, Cozart can hit. So it's still a solid Cincinnati lineup. It's their pitching that's no good. And now, speaking of pitchers that are no good, how about Alfredo Simon, a guy that was not very good last year with the Tigers, 5.05 ERA last season, lit up by the Chicago Cubs in his last start, failed to get out of the very first inning, allowing 5 runs on 3 walks as well in that first inning, a 9-2 loss for Cincinnati in that game. And then so I expect the starters to struggle. And then you go on behind them are bullpens that are just absolutely flammable, waiting to get absolutely crushed late in games. I mean, Cincinnati and Colorado, 2 of the 3 worst bullpens so far this season in Major League Baseball in terms of ERA. The Rockies and Reds have been giving up late runs in bunches throughout the season with very shaky bullpen relief pitching. We could see more of the same here. Colorado, to me, I trust De La Rosa starting pitching-wise against Simon a little bit more. So from a side perspective, I lean to Colorado a bit in this game, but my stronger betting recommendation on this one would be to look over the total of 8. We should see runs in bunches at Great American Ballpark on Tuesday night.
Sounds good, Ian. Yeah, the opening line right now is 8. It's either minus 115 or minus 120 market wide. Would not at all be surprised to see that one close at even as high as 9. Certainly, I'm guessing it's going to be 8.5 minus 120 by first pitch. Ian Cameron, thanks so much. Talk to you again very soon.